Jesus is the only way to heaven. Every other religion leads you straight to hell. Yeah, but damn, what version of Jesus? There's like a lot of them, right? What variant of Christianity too? And what version of the Bible? What about all the books of the Bible that were thrown out at the Council of Nicaea? What about all the other people claiming to be Jesus at the time of Jesus? It's some ambiguity there. And are you really sure that you know exactly the one, unless you're having a transcendent mystical experience that's telling you which one is the right Jesus? And then my question is, what if that transcendent mystical experience tells you to violate the doctrine that's in the current Bible, and thus that Bible's wrong? Okay, well, which one is right? Look at the Dead Sea Scrolls. They talk about the Lord of Light versus the Lord of Darkness. That was a radical Jewish cult that wrote those. So different boats, different floats. Charles, do you work with personal trainer? I'll send you my resume. I can bike in Boulder. Well, Lolo, if you go ahead and send your resume to, let me go ahead and write his email. I actually am looking for somebody to help with weight training as of next year. So send your email to Jeffrey Seiler and let him know and your CV and all that other stuff. And we'd be happy to interview you. And if you're local, come by the office and we'll talk to you. Now, no guarantee of a job now. You gotta earn it. So we'll take a look at the resume. Meow, meow, meow. Yeah, but damn, which Bible? The Bible cannot be disproven. Okay. Well, I can write a whole bunch of things about mystical experiences that happened 100,000 years ago. Can't prove it, can't disprove it. Doesn't make it true. And what Bible? There's King James Bible, the Mormon Bible. Catholics have extended errata. What about all the bulls that have come out? You got to give me more there. What about those snake handlers? Think about them. They think that you're only worthy if you get bit by the snakes and survive. It's kind of occultic. There was even a Christian tradition that had a whole bunch of seances. And it was really popular in the 1880s and 1890s. In fact, some of the U.S. presidents got dragged into it and had seances in the White House. How about that? Lincoln got dragged into a frickin' seance. That was in the 1860s. Hey, Charles, any books you recommend related to Buddhism or meditation? Anything from John Kabat-Zinn. Jeff Warren is also really good, and he's partnered with Calm. Calm is a good onboarding. Charles, can you give me your opinion on psychedelics? I think if they're used correctly, I'm a big fan of Michael Pollan's book, How to Change Your Mind. I think if they're used correctly, they can have an enormous impact on things like PTSD, depression, anxiety, end of life issues. In fact, there's a researcher named Roland Griffiths who's out at Johns Hopkins University who's been studying these things for quite some time. And the jury's back in, and it's very clear that psilocybin in particular can be a wonderful treatment for a lot of things that hurt people. Generally what they do is they reset the default mode network. It's part of your brain, and they clear out a lot of gunk, and they allow you to see and experience things a new way. So psychedelics have to be paired with set and setting. You just don't take a psychedelic and you get a magical effect. You need a guide that's connected to the psychedelic that takes you on a journey. And if it's done the right way, it seems like it has a dramatic improvement in long-standing improvement in a lot of things. And this is the old shaman tradition. That's why people go on ayahuasca retreats and peyote retreats and why they're taking the mushrooms and doing these things. But you have to have the guide and the knowledge and the right set and setting. So I'd encourage you to read Michael Pollan's book. It's a good entry point, but there's a boatload of additional things to think about there. Don't just go to the street and buy some DMT and Call yourself Shabala. Oliver, just greetings from Switzerland. Grüezi morgen. Grüezi. What do you use for meditation readings in your posts? I use a Muse S headset. It has a heart rate variability scanner, a stillness scanner, and a calmness scanner. Now, I would like the technology to be better. And actually, I have someone on staff who's an expert in neural feedback and EEGs and these types of things. And we talk every day about how to improve that technology. Nothing would make me happier than a roll-up of dry EEG sensors that cover the entire head along with an FDR's battery and putting them together and having the ultimate AI-driven meditation program. We are not even close to that at the moment. It's pretty sad. Do you trust any health podcast? Love Andrew Huberman. He's great. Peter Attia is another one that's really good too. How does your note-taking system look like? Transitioning to Zettelkasten slowly, but there are other things to do too. The great book called How to Take Smart Notes. Yeah, and fentanyl is bad. Yeah, there's tons of fentanyl. Fentanyl is terrible. I don't understand why anybody would lace stuff with it. It just kills people. Fentanyl laced cocaine, fentanyl laced everything. Can't even handle it. It's going to kill you. Why Snowden is wrong, in your opinion? I did a whole video on it. You really want me to go back into that? Watch my video. I explain it. Why 2 pens? Because just when you need to write something, your pen goes dead. That's why 2 pens. Have you ever spoken to Lane Norton about autophagy? No. Hey, Charles, when Real5 whiteboard video? I'll do it next week. Why the Lobster mic? Well, Lobster, his name is Logan. You guys named him. I'll never sell Logan. He's very special to me. What subject are you least educated about? Oh, there's a ton of them. Like I know next to nothing about gender studies. Astronomy is one actually that I surprisingly know little about. And one of these days I'm going to learn a lot about it. What do you worry most about in life? Well, I think the thing that haunts me is that I have made a lot of commitments and obligations in my life, and I would love to make sure that all those commitments and obligations get satisfied. In terms of myself and my own experiences, if I was obligation commitment free and I got hit by a bus tomorrow, I'd die happy because I've done pretty much everything a person could do. I've known love. I've been to 72 countries. I've traveled everywhere you can imagine, met heads of state. built a multi-billion-dollar business, met millions of people through through Cardano, gained a lot of wisdom along the way. I mean, there's plenty of side quests, amazing things to go on, new things to do. And, I'm entering new industries like synthetic biology and biotechnology and medicine, and also ranching and, agriculture, these types of things. And I discover new things all the time that inspire and motivate me and push me through. But you can't live a life of worry. The goal ought to be is to live a life where you have an empty slate, where no matter what happens, it's okay. And you don't sweat the small stuff. If you're obsessed all the time about how people perceive you, or if your brand reputation, or there's something unfinished, or you failed something, you're just not going to live a good life. Self-forgiveness is so incredibly important. We all make mistakes. We sometimes hurt people. We say the wrong things. We screw up. Sometimes we screw up for a long time, and sometimes we never get to say we're sorry because the people you hurt disappear or die. And if you carry that with you, you're taking poison that will hurt you for the rest of time. And I don't really believe in an eye for eye, where your suffering has to be proportional in exchange for it to be right. You just have to make a commitment to grow up and be wise and move on and do things differently. So I don't tend to worry as much as I used to. I still do have a lot of commitments, and I'm trying to make sure that those get a nice bow tie on them. But all things considered, Charles is at peace. Okay, Javier. Mr. Molina. Ever since the Snoop Dogg Twitter space, I've been very upset with you, Chuck. In that space, you said Five Guys was better than In-N-Out. I need an explanation. You go into Five Guys, they got real fresh, nice fries. All the hamburgers, they're quite savory, they're quite delicious. And it's just good old-fashioned burgers that you would expect and fries you'd expect from a 1950s burger joint. Okay, they're cooked in real lard, and they're good. Now, In-N-Out is good as well. I'll give you that. I just have a preference of Five Guys over In-N-Out, and reasonable people can disagree. What did you think of House of the Dragon? I haven't watched a single episode. The Last Jedi destroyed my love of Star Wars, and Season 8 of Game of Thrones destroyed my love of the entire Game of Thrones universe. So I have no idea about it. It could be a great show, it could be a terrible show. I don't know, don't care. It destroyed my love of it. Sorry, there's not a lot of forgiveness there. You guys just keep bringing this up. You're brainwashed. Look, at the end of the day, he swore an oath to the United States and was given enormous amounts of secret information. He decided that he didn't like what he saw, and so he decided to selectively disclose a huge chunk of things to the media and then run to America's enemy. Now he lives in Russia, the country that's invaded Ukraine, and the country that kills journalists, the country that has no freedom of expression and speech, had a more pervasive spy state than us, and swore an oath to protect them. Now, to be fair, he doesn't seem to be very good at oath keeping. So Russia probably should be a little worried in that respect. But by no means is he a hero we should look up to. There's plenty of things that happen every day by the United States and other countries that are pretty fucking terrible. And people with security clearances see them every single day and disagree with them, and they get sick to their stomach. But they swore an oath of secrecy in this respect. If he wanted to really be a martyr and a whistleblower, then he should have revealed the truth and then became a political prisoner, because that's what Nelson Mandela did. And that's what every other person who's a freedom fighter for what they feel is the truth is willing to do. They're willing to put their life and personal freedom on the line. How effective would Mandela have been if he fled to Switzerland and wrote essays about how evil South Africa apartheid is? How effective would Martin Luther King been if he took residence up in Toronto and wrote about how the South punishes the black man. We wouldn't look up to them. We wouldn't venerate them. We venerate them because they had the courage to stay where the crisis was and take the injustice and march. In the case of Mandela, 27 years in prison as a political prisoner. Now, he didn't want to do that. Instead, he wants to sit in Russia and lecture all of us while in a state that does not have any freedoms at all and is more than comfortable killing anybody that disagrees with it with poison, some cases radioactive substances like polonium, about how bad the American spy state is, which, by the way, is a lot less worse than Facebook and a lot less worse than Google and a lot less worse than any of these things that you choose to use every day, knowing full well in the back of your mind how much they know about you. They can predict when your daughter's pregnant better than a doctor can. They know probably when you're worried about cancer. Know all these things. You tell them every day. You walk around with a tracking device and a microphone in your fucking pocket. I'm sorry. There is no justification for violation of those oaths. If he really had an umbrage, become a political prisoner or run for office and tell people as much as possible. And it didn't change the dialogue at all. All it did is it moved the things that were in the government into the private sector, where they're 10 times worse because they have no oversight at all and no constitutional control at all. But please do lecture us about how brave a person who swore fealty to Russia, who has our nation's secrets, is, and how great of a hero he is, and how courageous he is, writing those multi-million-dollar books and appearing at every conference and these types of things, having his girlfriend live with him, and I guess they got married and these types of things. No, if you want to look up to a person, look up to a person who sacrificed something. Don't look up to a person who fled to another country and lobs grenades at my country about how bad we are when the country he's residing in is worse that he just swore a fucking oath to.